think I'll have baby fish today when I go home. I woke up this morning really early to drive to work, and it had snowed a bunch. And I was super excited because whenever it snows outside, a lot of my fish breed. A lot of the fish that I breed are plecos, and they're from the Amazon. And so whenever it rains or it's in the Amazon, it's usually the raining season, and so it signifies for them to breed. And so whenever it snows or rains here, the fish can tell and they usually breed. But it made me think about how what other things help fish to breed. Weather can definitely be a good one, is one that sometimes affects them. So for plecos and a lot of fish in the Amazon, having rain or some form of moisture in the air happen can make it so that they breed. And also in other places, for other fish, like killifish, they breed right before, a lot of times before it dries up for weather. And so they lay their eggs in some moss or whatever keeps them moist, and then the little ponds that they live in dry up, and then that's when they have their eggs. So they have it towards the end of their wet season so that their eggs can last the next year and be hatched in those ponds for the next raining season. So weather is one thing that can cause your fish to spawn. Temperature of water is another big one. Sometimes, in the wild it goes hand in hand a lot of times with the weather. So if it rains a lot, the water temperature can lower. Depending on if it's summer, the water gets hotter, so they get ready to breed. Water temperature can be a big one for that. That's why a lot of fish breeders, they'll turn up their heaters on their fish tanks when they're wanting fish to breed, because they know that when they turn up that heater, it'll cause their fish to breed more often. For example, discus. Lots of discus breeders, what they'll do is they'll keep their tank to 84 to 88 degrees, and then they'll do a cold water change to signify oh, hey, the raining season started, and then it bounces back up to hot again, so it's it's time of plenty, and so they'll do that. Another one is the parameters of water, so pH change. There's lots of times when there's a lot of rain. Rain is fairly neutral for when it comes to when it rains, and so it'll lower pHs of the water in a lot of areas. So lowering the pH in your tank can sometimes cause fish to breed. I know a lot of pleco breeders also like to do this. They'll put in RO water or distilled water in their tank to lower the pH, so that it'll signify kind of that raining season as well. So also the pH can also be a signifier for breeding time. One thing that you'll also want to do to help your fish breed is to condition them. That being said, making sure that they have a lot of healthy food to eat. You want fat fish or fish that breed, but not fat in the sense of eating fast food, because there's a lot of fish food out there that can be used to fatten up your fish real quick because they're really fatty or have lots of high proteins in it. And for a lot of fish, having protein can cause them to get into that time where they feel like there's enough plenty of food and have enough food storage of fat on them to breed. But you want to make sure that you use healthy foods, because if you feed them too much protein that's not clean protein, it can cause them to get below other diseases from the type of protein that they're receiving. So you want to make sure that if you're giving them that, it's healthy protein. One way to do this is just always use frozen foods like brine shrimp or bloodworms or mysis shrimp. Frozen works great. Even freeze-dried works great, but a lot of processed foods that are high in protein, use just fish meal, which isn't a great protein to give your fish, because you just don't know what that fish meal is made of. So that's another thing to do. Another one is keep your water really clean. The cleaner your water is for most fish, the more likely they are to breed, because clean water usually signifies that your fish are healthy. The cleaner your water is, the less likely they're going to get sick. Another thing that's kind of weird that a lot of people don't think about when breeding fish is having a routine. So, like, for example, always doing your water changes on Thursdays for a long period of time can help your fish get accustomed to, like, oh, hey, like, this is what's happening. They don't freak out as much. But also can be used for certain fish that the routine gets them into, is good for them. But the change of the routine is what gets them to actually spawn or have babies. So lots of times with discus, people will keep a really regimented schedule and then they'll change it for a week or two, and so then it kind of helps them feel like the weather or the season's changing and it's time to spawn again. So that's one thing that a lot of fish breeders do. Me, I just mostly just wait for it to rain outside, which doesn't happen very often in Utah, so that helps my fish to breed. But yeah, routine can help your fish either feel comfortable with water changes so they're less stressed and so they're more likely to breed, or gives you the opportunity to switch up that routine and cause change, and then they think the season's changing to breed. So that's two ways in that aspect. So those are just a few ideas things that I do or that others do to cause their fish to breed. Hopefully that's helpful for you.